Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 16th. The time is 3:14 PM. And I call the regular meeting, December meeting of the Board of Estimate and Contract into order. Clerk Bonilla, can you please call the roll?
Yes, I can. Comptroller Morton,
Yeah.
Council President Brown.
Here and remote.
Thank you. Mayor Patterson Howard.
Here.
The resolutions approving ordinances. Number one, Office of the Mayor, and ordinance amending chapter 126, Article 6 of the Code of the City of Mount Vernon, establishing updated sewer rent and refuse sustainability fees.
So move.
In a second.
Second. On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Comptroller Morton.
No. No. Nay.
Thank you. Council President Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number two, Department of Public Works, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation Green Resiliency Grant, GRG, project number C356940200, grant number 2344, for the Brush Park Green Infrastructure Project, award up to $4.4 million. Is that right?
It's 4.4 million, yes.
So move.
Second.
On the question?
So, so this grant, I understand, basically is reimbursable.
Yes, but we are also working with EFC and DEC as we did on another grant that came through them to have advanced monies applied to this as they understand our cash flow. And these are the same agencies that manage and oversee the $150 million.
Okay, but, so this I understand, because as you know, very concerned about cash flow. And especially going into 2026. And, you know, depending upon what the budget ends up being once adopted, our ability to be able to advance payments for things like this.
Mhm.
Because as you know, from the 2025, you know, we've had a lot of those, and some of that has been in part the challenge with our cash flow in this last quarter. So, 2026, based upon even what is being proposed for the budget currently, that it is going to be very, very tight and probably less likely. So if there is going to be this arrangement for these, for third party kind of funding to come in advance, then fine, then that alleviates it. But if not, then the question is, well, what's going to be the game plan to try to get this executed? Because I'm not sure we're going to have the cash flow to do it, to put it up.
Absolutely, and I already anticipated that, and so when we found out that we were awarded the money, we already reached out. And I've had success in the past with getting advances of grants. Again, so we have that revolving credit, not just here, but in my previous position. And then secondly, again, this comes through EFC and DEC, for which we already have a very similar arrangement where they have advanced monies or put it in kind of like a revolving credit line so that we're not putting it out. We have money, we put that out, and then we put in for reimbursement and they replenish that. So
So this is EFCD, DEC, not DASNY? EFC.
this is it.
So on the EFC, but wasn't there a request for a direct payment on this? And we did not get that. So now is there some,
And then there was a conversation with Damani. He was asking to be able to get direct payment from them. And he wasn't successful in the end getting that, so I don't know.
So the
Are you talking
alternative,
about DASNY? The grant for the Armory is through DASNY. The grant for Brush Park is a Environmental Facilities Corporation grant,
So,
as is the grant for Fourth Street Park.
okay, so this one is for Brush Park, this is not.
This is for Brush Park, and then the other EFC grant is for Fourth Street Park. The grant for the Dole Center and the grant for the Armory
are from Daphne?
Hmm?
Are from Daphne?
are through DASNY.
Okay, and so the payment options for EFC and them are either reimbursable or
Advance.
them. And so, okay, so again, so where are we in the discussion with them? We're still having discussion with them about it? Or we've asked them for it and we're waiting to hear back from them?
Yeah, we've asked and we're waiting for them to hear back from it.
Okay, just so me, just.
I mean, if that, we can't have that arrangement and it's gonna impact cash flow, then we would have to give the award back. I mean, but I don't want to reject the award before we finish having conversation. And I want to make sure that we move it along so that it doesn't get recaptured and distributed elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not looking for it necessarily to give it back. I'm looking for it just to make sure that we got some kind of game plan around it, and that we also recognize and put on the record that this is going to potentially be a challenge. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to maneuver to figure out how, and when is this project actually going to start though? Is this starting early 26, late 26?
No, it's not starting early 26. It'll probably start mid 26.
Mid 26.
Mhm.
Okay.
This and the Fourth Street grant are both part of kind of our original interaction with EFC when they first came down and they took the tour with us around the city. And then they determined that they were giving us the 150 million. We had taken them to several locations and Fourth Street was one, and there was a lot of drainage issues there, as well as Brush Park was one, because Brush Park, really, if we do drainage properly at Brush Park, that can help ameliorate some, or not eliminate, but yeah, reduce some of the flooding that happens at South Third and Columbus Avenue. So the Environmental Facilities Corporation, while these are parks, they're water infrastructure, green space types of awards that kind of go with the larger work that we're doing with these organizations around stormwater capture.
Okay.
All right. Roll call.
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 3, City Council and Ordinance.
Just a question before we move on. City Clerk, can you hear me? Just a question, just to go back to number 1. And the comptroller voted no to that one. There's some confusion for me because wasn't the proposed annual estimate that we passed on to the council as a body for the public hearing today? Weren't those fees in that proposed budget that was passed on to the council?
My concern about this is, yes, the fees, the anticipation of the numbers of bringing in for the refuge is based upon the fact that the mayor, the administration was looking to raise the fees. My concern is that also part of this legislation is for us to be able to also not only cover operation, but for us also to build capital. And so raising the fees to me, right? And and for us not to actually look at how we also going to make sure we're funding the capital was a concern to me. And so I voiced concern about the fact that of us raising these fees at this time, which has always been my position. So that's the reason why I voted no on it. Again, it's the administration view that we needed to raise the fees in order for us to be able to keep that number at the level that it is in the budget, right? For me, it was a matter that I felt as if we needed to also do a different kind of calibration of the percentage that needed to go in operating versus capital. So that's the reason why I did it.
The increase
Okay,
in,
so, hold on, Madam Mayor. So the confusion for me was I never knew that that was your position, controller, right? So if that was a conversation that needed to be had, that is something that I think that the council could have had with you, and we could have adjusted the legislation to reflect a portion going into capital. But that was where my confusion came from. But Madam Mayor, you can continue.
so based on the calculation, it is not 100% of the anticipated revenue going into operations. It is a number. We anticipate on collecting more than that. So we looked at it as a 90% collection rate, I think a 92% collection rate. And so this would not be, at that level, the full amount that is budgeted is not the full amount expected to be collected. And there should be money left to go over into capital. But also, this is a fee that has not been raised in 4 years. And 4 years ago, when we put it out, it was lower than the other communities around us. We had not done a 6-year contract with the Teamsters, which primarily is the union that covers this fee. We are scheduled to do yet another contract with the Teamsters. So there is increased operational costs. And so if the refuse fee was focused on sanitation, the 24 workers who work in the sanitation division, there are increased fees, there are increased expenses. And so that is why we increased it. It wasn't just to meet a revenue number, but in 4 years ago when we implemented it, there have been increased expenses in sanitation. And this is what the fee is connected to. In no way, when we've looked at surrounding communities 4 years ago, since then, they've increased their fees 2 and 3 times this amount. We kept it at a very low amount because we did not want to do an undue burden. But at the same time, we knew that there still needed to be an increase in the fee so that it could cover the operations and so that there could be money available for capital.
At the end of the day, it comes down to just a difference really in budgetary philosophy on this one, right, for me. And again, I think that it's going to have to be monitored, right? Because at the rate that we're collecting it, all right, we need to also make sure that we keep in mind that one, we are not over budgeting in the actual operating budget for it that actually is beyond what the cost is for sanitation related activities, because clearly it has to account for that. Now, based upon calculation now, we're fine, right? But the other side of that for me is how do we then begin to build so that we're not going out here and bonding or banding for money for the equipment. It's a dual responsibility, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think part of the conversation that the council had around these fees at the council meeting was there's no accurate representation in any of the numbers or reports from the comptroller's office on what actually covers sanitation. And I think that if moving forward, if we actually had those numbers, including benefits, including personnel costs, including the equipment, all of those things, if we had that report, we could adjust the refuse fees according to fact, right? Right now, we're kind of going based on benchmarking what other communities are doing, as opposed to knowing what our actual cost in the city is. So if we can get a report like that moving forward, I think that would help future councils in making the decision on whether or not to raise or lower the refuse fee.
Well, yeah, so absolutely, we can absolutely give you, I mean, I don't think that actually it's accurate that may count that there has not been any kind of report that says that, right? The reality is when this was created, we determined exactly what other departments. So when you look at the actual budget itself, when you look at sanitation and you look at street cleaning, you look at those areas themselves, those are the departments. And anything underneath of that budget is what actually is sanitation, right? And so the additional piece of it is just calculating what is the actual
Benefits.
benefits piece of it, right? Which no one asked me specifically for that report. You asked me now, so we absolutely can get that report to you. So you can have it and understand exactly what it means when we say sanitation costs totally and what that operational cost is for the year, so that then you can measure it against what is going into the operating budget and what also is going into the capital budget. Now, there were some other things too that happened, right? Which were some adjustments that was made because that is volatile based upon the fact of what you expect is going to come in based upon the number of people that opt out. Right, in that, because what happens is the assessor's office does the calculation based upon the actual assessments of those properties and what is then projected as coming in. So we'll get the information to you. So going forward, that you'll easily be able to have that to do that kind of analysis.
If you can send over that report, I did ask for something, any of that report regarding sanitation, any of the capital costs that we've had to put out, even though it was in the operational budget over the last 4 years, that'd be helpful for not only this council, but future councils.
And just quickly, if you look in the budget, just the salary without any fringe, meaning payroll taxes, medical, social security, anything like that, is $6,509,000. So in no way does our refuse fee, as it currently stands, and even with the new proposed one, begin to cover. I mean, it takes care of a nice chunk of it, but I want to be clear that it does not cover those operations. I don't think we ever expected it to cover all of the operations, but we definitely wanted to make sure that it addressed some of it. So yeah, when you just look at the two numbers under salaries, not even appropriations, but just under salaries in those two divisions, without including equipment, without including any type of payroll taxes, medical, dental benefits, any other union negotiations, uniform fees, or anything of that nature. It's very much in line with the very minimal costs, just the very staffing costs of operating DPW. And I just wanted to be clear to say that, because the last thing I want people to say is, oh, they're just charging us all of this money and they don't even know what the basic costs are. We absolutely know what the basic costs are. And when you sit here and you add about 40%, maybe 50% on top of this, then you can get a rough estimate, because that's what all of the retirement and the medical and the payroll taxes and all of those things. And again, that in no way includes the capital pieces of it. So, just for the record, because we know how misinformation spreads quicker than fact. And so I just wanted to say that. And I think what we have budgeted,
So
we budgeted
So 6.7.
6.7 million, and right here, just in salaries, without any fringe, without any equipment, we're at 6,509,000.
Right, and so the
yeah, so
projection, so when you compare that.
Sorry.
Projection,
go ahead, Comptroller. There's a delay. Go ahead, you got it.
when you compare that again with the projection of what is going to come in based upon what the assessor does for that, right? It leaves, to my point, it leaves minimum room for what is going to be left over, what potentially will be left over for the actual capital, right? In that, right? So until we actually get that formula down pat, right? Where we absolutely know is why I'm making this concern. So that's right now. However, if it's being raised, then it means that you may very well be able to look at it and say, okay, wait a minute. Now, what is now with the raise fee? What's the now projection that actually will come in that will potentially, I guess, either one, leave room for that, or two can then be allocated in the actual budget. And potentially to kind of bring down whatever that cost is.
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. I would love to see a comprehensive look at it. So anything that we have to pay contractors, anything that handles sanitation, and we can just see all of those costs together, I think that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we're going on to number 3.
Number 3, city council and ordinance authorizing the transfer of funds to cover the cost of contracted outside services.
So moved.
Second.
On the question,
So I have a few questions about this. Because there was a legislation asking for the escrow to be established for this previously, right? So now my question is around the structure. What are the fee structures? Because, and I could be wrong, right? But my understanding is that the purpose for getting a third party is to do,
This is a budget transfer.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of you. Sorry.
I'm so confused.
It was a budget transfer.
Okay.
Okay.
Budget
That's
transfer.
number
Yeah,
4.
okay. So I do have a question about that. So what's the budget transfer that cover costs and contract?
Yep, to cover our attorney's fees.
Oh, for the land
Comp
use.
plan. Yeah, land use attorneys that are not project based. So to be clear on the record, any project or development pays for the land use through escrow. But for comp plan, any legislation that we do that is outside of our outside of our corporation council, we have to pay out of pocket for those. And the comp plan is one of those things.
Okay. And these are expenses that already have been done. We just need the money in the line.
Correct.
roll call?
Controller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 4, Department of Buildings, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6 adopted by the city council on November 12, 2025, entitled an ordinance authorizing the acceptance and award of requests for proposals, RFP number 4, for third-party construction inspection and consulting services to LaBella Associates.
So moved.
Second.
I was gonna ask if we could hold this. I called the building department down so they could answer your questions, because you said you have questions.
Yes.
So we can not hold it, but can we
Yeah.
move on and then come back to it? All right.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 5, Fire Department, an ordinance authorizing the contingent permanent appointment of Captain Roderick Hines to the position of Deputy Fire Chief within the Mount Vernon Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
On the question?
What does contingent permanent mean?
So, right now we have a fire, one of our deputy chiefs is kind of in retirement mode, and so he's utilizing his days. And while he's utilizing his days, unfortunately, we're having to pay overtime at about $180,000 a year. At salary to be able to cover this. We also are going into the holiday season where a lot of those deputy chiefs, and we're going to need more overtime. And so Captain Hines is at captain level right now, and this is just the, I guess I would say, not provisional, but he's being, instead of using overtime money, we're utilizing him as the buffer to cover all of this overtime that's been accumulating while our other deputy chief is in retirement mode. And we're burning overtime at the top level of the fire department.
I guess my question was about the two words contingent and permanent.
Yeah,
To me, just,
yeah. I don't understand the wording. I thought, it was more of kind of I don't think that's what is that what the original?
So,
I don't remember that being the original phrases that was used in it.
It's in the letter.
It's contingent, permanent.
Contingent permanent appointment.
Okay, so he is going to be a permanent appointment, but he's being promoted earlier to cover a position that is filled, but is not being worked as they are respectfully burning their time, which is something that we have to address, and we've been talking about. You
So
have
is it
people,
contingent? I guess is the question that I'm supposed to ask. Is it contingent or is he permanently in that position from here on forward?
well, we're not expanding the number of deputy chiefs we have. We're keeping the number of deputy chiefs we have. And so he's being added, which makes it 7 deputy chiefs at this time, but it will go back down to 6 deputy chiefs when the individual who is retiring in the beginning of February retires. So it's kind of, I
It
don't,
sounds like a temporary expansion.
yeah, it's a temporary expansion. I must have missed the contingent, provisional, permanent, and all of the interesting words that were used. So we're expanding the number to 7 to not incur overtime costs at the highest level of that position. And it will go back to the standard number of people when that position is finally retired in the early part of 2026. The paperwork has already been put in and processed for that retirement. And the individual, that deputy chief has been out ill and is utilizing their sick days. And so hopefully, as we go forward, kind of this terminal leave has been a process that costs the city lots and lots and lots of money when people are retiring at the end of and we've talked about this, when people are retiring at the end of their career with either, what do we call that, comp time or sick time that they may not have accrued at that level of salary, but they're being paid out at that level of salary. To have someone sit home for 180 days as opposed to, a 1 for 5 or a 1 for 3, how can we make that better? So that's definitely something we're going to have to continue to revisit because it is very costly. And you see it in police, you see it in fire, you see it in DPW, you see it in any position where there's union. But definitely in police and fire more prominently.
So with this one, I guess this question is really for legal. Does this need to go back to council so the language is changed? And I know it's legal advice, so you don't have to answer now, but is it something that we should hold based on the current language?
If y'all want, y'all can hold it, but I don't necessarily think we can truly confuse. It's a weird way to word it. That's what they did. But we can hold it and have them just take that contingent out. They got to come up with a different word.
well, didn't the ceremony happen?
Mhm.
the other day?
It did. It did.
So,
That's. See, looking in the referral letter in the regarding section, it says provisional. And then
Yeah,
they said,
that,
they probably should have said provisional,
and that's,
contingent, provisional,
no, it said,
no contingent, provisional.
provisional.
Right.
It's in the letter.
And that would have made sense.
It's based on what's in.
huh?
It's in the letter, so.
Contingent provisional, or is provisional also in there, or it's just,
that's the title
Regard.
of the letter. It's provisional appointment, but in the body it says contingent permanent.
oh, yeah,
Oh, you should have said
Red.
provisional permanent. Good point.
They used the wrong P word.
yeah. So in the body of the letter, in the body of the letter, it does say
Show it.
provisional. I'm going to it.
Body of letter says provisional or
The body of the letter says contingent permanent, appointment, but the title says.
Title. Provisional.
title of it says.
No, the regarding.
Regarding.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so
You
you
wanna
saying
just-
just change the, just make the edit?
Yeah.
What you saying?
I think it's basically a title, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It
All right,
says Rhea's provisional appointment. So it's can we change it on the floor to provisional appointment?
that's something you just changed it, it's gotta be a motion.
Okay.
It's a type,
Just a type.
Yeah.
All right. Provisional, okay.
so it should be provisional appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do that after, so we.
Roll call?
Controller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 6, Department of Public Safety and ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Citizens Observers LLC, tip 411 for subscription services from April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2026.
Second,
On the question?
so I saw this, so what specifically, do you happen to know what this tech service is?
This is our tip 411. So it's just a, re-upping, a renewal of our tip line
Into the police department.
into the police department.
Sorry.
Roll call?
Controller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 7, Office of the Assessor, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a revised tax bill for 60 West First Street, Mount Vernon, New York. Parcel ID 16570300681 pertaining to tax years 2022 through 2025.
So moved.
Second,
On the question? Hearing none, roll call?
Controller Morton,
aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 8, Comptroller, an ordinance authorizing the adoption of an austerity budget framework and establishing centralized expenditure controls for travel, membership dues, training, and education.
So moved.
Second,
On the question?
so on not so much on the question, but just kind of further explanation. As we move into 2026, given that it is going to be a very, very tight year. I think that, one of them should be on some streamline to even the council president's questioning about even the refuge. And that we have, some very clear kind of policies and procedures as to how we're gonna operate to best manage. Because all throughout 2020, most of 2025, there have been some discussions and some communications and around how do we actually manage the fiscal affairs of it and watch oversight certain things. I think by having an adopted kind of framework to that, it also identifies exactly who's responsible for what and what the procedures are. It also places for here, as to this body, the Board of Estimates and Contracts, a little bit more of a active and direct role on a monthly basis to really look at some key lines. Lines like overtime and lines like travel and education, as well as also the equipment, because those are the places where we probably need a little bit more kind of oversight. And also data collection, because the reality of it is that the data collection is going to be important for us as we begin to, really chart the fiscal, course going forward. So that's just my 2 cents on this, today.
Yeah, so in addition to that, one of the things that came up during our city council meeting was, while I think it definitely is beneficial, I'm not sure because I haven't done the research and the legal department hasn't had an opportunity to do it, whether or not this type of policy requires any charter changes, because some of the things that the BOE will now be doing is some of the things that the council is doing, right? So I will be supporting it because the council voted it up at the meeting, but I'm still not sure that I'm not 100% that we're legally compliant, that there isn't any additional steps that need to be taken.
Yeah, and I think that that's fair. I think that it'll come back that it probably is gonna be fine, because what I did is I specifically kind of really focused on the DOE to really be doing a little bit more oversight and reporting it to the council, right? But the one area of kind of really authorizing that is the travel, which is a new policy. There's certain levels in which really did not go to the council. So what it did now is put those things at the BOE, right? As opposed to it just being departmental, where there was this kind of different kind of process and approach to that. So I'll be interested to hear, but yeah, I agree.
And I'm absolutely supportive of this. I just also want to be clear, right? Because there's misinformation, there's disinformation, and there's extreme exaggeration. And when we look at 2025, based on some of the preliminary numbers that I have, we spent less than $100,000 as an entire city on travel and training, right? I think it's been rumored that my office alone had spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on travel. And that, we're just crisscrossing the globe on the taxpayer's dime and dollar, which is absolutely categorically untrue. Do I travel internationally? Absolutely. Has the city ever paid for my international travel? Absolutely not. Other question was, oh, well, it's days out of the office. Check my HR records. I took 2 vacation days, 3 maybe at most, in 2025. And have taken maybe 5 weeks of vacation in 6 years. So whether it's vacation or whether it's travel, and even if we do travel, I know I can call Comptroller Morton, and often do call him while he's traveling. Traveling doesn't mean that we're not working. Traveling means that we're working, we're learning, we're being trained. But we're also working extra hours during those days that we are traveling, because we're still responding to emails, phone calls, Zoom calls. And even if we're in different time zones, we're really, really working, because oftentimes when it's bedtime, it's work time here. And so I just wanted to say that for the record. It might be empty, because there'll be people who roll their eyes and they'll say $100,000. $100,000 is 1/7% on the tax levy, 1/7%. So oversight, I'm always for more oversight. Making sure that we have sound policies, I'm always for sound policies. But to continue to put forth the misinformation and categorical untruths that, the city is there going there broke because we're just running around traveling and living high off the hog on taxpayer money is just wrong. And so I just wanted to say that for the record. Anything else on that? Roll call?
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
it's yours. Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard,
Aye.
You wanna go to number 4?
Yes.
Let me reread it. Department of Buildings and Ordinance amending ordinance number 6 adopted by the City Council on November 12, 2025, entitled an ordinance authorizing the acceptance and award of requests for proposals, number 4, for third-party construction, inspection, and consulting services to Labella and Associates. It was motion and seconded.
Okay, there's a motion and second
It was-
on the question. So on the question, I know that you have questions, Controller, and that's why I asked for our Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner to come down.
So, okay, so what specifically is it that this, third party is going to be doing?
This is one specific project that we have in 115 North McQuestion. The project is over 300 units with commercial space, residential and recreation area. And we do not have enough inspectors to handle the inspections throughout this construction. That will be for 2 years ongoing construction. We come up with the RFP 004, asking for large inspection companies to bid on this proposal because we want to give this outsource it since we don't have enough inspectors. And we received 2 proposals from Arrangers and Labella. Labella proposed to do these inspections with cheaper rate. And based on our experience with them, we choose to work with Labella to do these inspections.
Under normal circumstances, it would be one of our inspectors to do this investigation, this stuff?
Yes,
And the opportunity cost associated with that in taking our regular inspectors off the line of doing homeowners inspections and being able to do pre-inspections that can make sure that their permits are issued and post-inspections to make sure that their permits can be closed. If you pull our very limited inspectors off of the line, not just to do the inspections on the vacant apartments, but there are so many inspections that have to happen along the way for equipment, for mechanical, for structural. And again, to pull our inspectors off the line to do that, this is just a much more cost-effective way because it's paid for by the contractor.
right.
But I mean, by the developer, but we would never, ever allow, just like kind of an escrow that the council does with projects, we would never allow a developer to hire their own company externally from the city to go in and do those inspections so that there are no delays in the development schedule, in the building schedule, and in the opening schedule for these large-scale developments. I think this could potentially be a model for going forward
Yes.
because we like to say time is money. And so
So I'm glad you said that. So my focus is
Mhm.
on money.
Yes.
So my focus is, again, so what's the structure here? Because under normal circumstances, if it's one of our people doing it, then the fee would actually be then issued by us and collected by us, which means that it would actually be attached to the revenue generation that comes from the department. And as you very well know, I have been very concerned
Mhm.
about y'all's revenues and your revenues levels, and being able to meet them. So therefore, my question then is, okay, so if they're doing the service, then is it just that the charges being issued by them, even though we're ministering it through an escrow, that there is no revenue that is coming into the city for these inspections, that all of their revenue is actually revenue that's going to third party, they're paying it through the escrow.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I can explain that further. What we decided on this process is the developer is gonna pay the permit fee and inspection fee, just like how they are supposed to do in a regular process. Our inspectors, we have 3 building inspectors. One of them designated to review the third-party inspection reports and go to the site time to time. So there's no cut on our revenue when it comes to the inspection. Since this is an expedited inspection process, because we are not able to monitor the site this type of large site every day, they are paying additional money to the escrow account, and this third-party company is getting paid from there. So,
Site work and stuff, they're paying, okay.
yeah, so there is no
Okay.
short cut, or there is no like a loss.
So
on
basically, the city's getting the fees that the city normally would.
Yes.
For the things that are happening. That's right.
Yes.
So then I don't have my third question, but I do need a copy of the contract. I don't, because that was the issue, the other thing. I just wanted to make sure of that. So that was my question around. So I think okay, got it.
And we have other projects. They are also gonna request the same process for their projects. They are gonna go through the RFP, and I will be working with Johan to get that done. This is not gonna be ongoing process. I just want to put that information out there. Thank you.
And I think, again, this bottle, I think it is beneficial to the city because we know our residents complain about pre-inspections taking too long, post-inspections. So pre-inspections are required to issue a permit. And so if we can't get inspectors out there because they're working and spending time on big projects like this at that level, then we can't even issue the permits. The other issue that people have is being able to close permits. And again, so if they're doing these inspections, and so I think that's going to bring more compliance of residents and residential and small business owners. And it's going to help us turn permit applications as well of closing of permits and issuing letters of completion much more quickly to our small businesses and our small contractors who are doing residential and small scale projects.
Yes, yes. That is not gonna be additional workload on top of our day-to-day work.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, roll call?
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard,
Aye. And just before Deputy Commissioner Mamak leaves, I know you sent me something earlier saying that we broke the $4 million mark today in, huh?
We generated up to date 4.1 million.
So I know what I would like for you to do is get together, we bring your records together with the Comptroller's Office records and just do a comparison and what do you call that? Reconciliation.
Yes.
Do a reconciliation.
So where are you all pulling that data from, though, that says to you that that's the loan?
Open gun. I have the report.
Okay, from OpenGov itself, OpenGov,
Revenue.
the revenue in OpenGov.
Yeah.
Suggests that,
Yes.
okay, but that's inclusive of what? Of just the online payments?
No.
What are the different methods of payments that are included in all of them?
Debit card, credit card, checks, e-checks, and if your office is accepting cash, that too. Any type of payment that we receive through OpenGov, we are getting that on that report.
Okay, so then, yeah, so reconciliation needs to be done because the very potential is, meaning the credit cards usually that's true, but it also could be, has anybody also gone through and done any of the returns? Any of those things that actually have been returned? Because oftentimes that also happens too, right? And then also the checks and all of that. So yeah, we'll reconcile it. It may be just a matter of that is some catch up and time lag between those things. But I'm hoping that there is that somebody also is monitoring to make sure, we've changed some of the things so that the cash stuff comes down to us, as well as streamlining yourself. So I'm not doubting that may very well be it. It's just a matter that oftentimes it takes time to kind of reconcile it. And two, to follow up on some of those things that don't necessarily get fully executed. So that's all.
The report also has the refund information. I'll download it and send it to your office
Oh, yeah.
to contact. Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
him and the deputy.
Thank you.
He needs it.
Okay.
So y'all can get together. Okay, thank you.
Right, number 9, Comptroller, an ordinance authorizing the implementation of Comp 2025-24, a tax interest amnesty program for residential and commercial properties.
So moved.
Second.
On the question,
No, I don't have other question. But if you will notice that what I did ask the council to do this time is to actually, we made a little bit of change. The last time last few times for the residents, we actually gave them, allowed for 100%. I think that we've tried as much, we've done enough, in this effort, that at this point, some of the elements change too, because of the school stuff is not quite as much of an impact. But also, it's just one last ditch effort to get those folks that, have been coming in the office asking about it. Some of them, of course, claiming that they were not aware, that they did not know that we had done it, even though we've done it 3 different times. And so this is an opportunity, to be able to put it out there, promote it to those, individuals who were not able to take advantage of it before. We should also say that, we've actually, today, we completed our 3rd tax lien sale on that. And so based upon what we sold today, we should yield about a $2.9 million, intake, from it. However, it did leave about 4 million still, and now is going to go to Enron. We also this week, got the, information back on, the title information on 95 properties. And so we are now going to, in the next 2 weeks, send out those official notices to the owners, to the heirs, to all of those people to start that process. Those properties that also in this, tax lien today, will also then be put into an interim process too as well. So we're moving through it. It's slow, but it's getting there, and we're trying to basically, give opportunity for taxpayers to be able to pay the taxes and for the city to be able to receive the revenue, in as swiftly as possible.
roll call.
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
I'm gonna move on to number 10, Department of Public Works. Resolution authorizing partial payment number 2 to Instaform Technologies LLC for year 2 sewer cleaning and inspection report.
So move.
Second.
On the question,
Okay, I'm understanding this is payable by HUD project fund grant?
Yes.
Is that, okay. Is that through URA or is that a separate complete grant?
I believe that was part of what, like $1.3 million that we received from either Schumer or Bowman.
Yeah, but I'm not certain if it's managed through URA. I think it goes through the regular,
Because one of the grants went through HUD, and that goes through urban renewal. The other one, I believe, was direct to DPW.
But reimbursed. Okay, just want to make sure I say it. Okay.
And do the roll call.
I just want to make sure one thing on this. I mean, in all of these, whether it's through HUD, through federal, or through the state funds, are still all part of the federal consent decree that we have. So, which saves us from kind of like tens of thousands of dollars of fines a week. So we're making progress. Okay, roll call.
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Number 11.
Just a
Department of
question. Before we go through all the partial payments, Comptroller, is there any one of these partial payments that you would be opposed to taking as a block vote?
Is there any set?
I think
Are
the
you-
second kind of
ahead.
has to stand on its own because it's pretty significant.
Number 11.
Numbers. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was looking further ahead. Forget it. Take that back.
Okay. So is there
No.
any objection to item number 11, 12, 13, 14 being taken as a block vote?
No, I don't have any objection. They all gonna have the same kind of, they're just gonna have to figure out how to manage the payments of them, nothing. But I mean,
Okay.
one fact that they have to be done for the city, we want to figure it out.
All right, so I move to take items 11 through 14 as a block vote.
Right.
Roll call?
I'm sorry, Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
All right, this is to take 11 to 14 as a block vote. We vote on that. Number 11, Department of Public Works, a resolution authorizing partial payment number 3 for Edison Avenue Pump Station upgrades to intercontracting Corp, $164,268.
No, actually, I don't think. Did we get a second on it?
Yeah, he second.
Well, it was a roll call. Roll call, you don't need a second, you just roll call.
It was the
No, they were,
my vote
right,
was Danielle and Moore.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, he seconded.
just a question.
Okay. Department of Public Works, number 12, an ordinance authorizing partial payment number 4 for Edison Avenue Pump Station upgrades to intercontracting Corp. $80,266.50. Number 13, Department of Public Works, a resolution authorizing partial payment number 18 for sewer system cleaning and televising Phase 1 to National Water Main Cleaning Company, $43,349.78. Number 14, Department of Public Works, a resolution authorizing partial payment number 20 for sewer rehabilitation Phase 1 to National Water Main, $215,319.59.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Hearing none, roll call?
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye. And Comptroller Morton, trust me, every time we make these big payments, and I know, trust me, I've had to manage cash flow in my previous position and it was never ever a good thing. And I know how much it hits us here. So I would like for you and I, before the week is out, to reach out to the state and see if there's anything we can do maybe to expand that advance or that line that we have, that revolving line that we have of 5 million, to make it larger, because we are doing so much work. And a lot of this is for that Edison Avenue pump station, which keeps the flooding down at that Columbus Avenue and South Third Avenue, and keep that down. And that's a really high that's a high water table area, and little places for that water to go. So we don't want to ever have to slow down the work that we're doing, because it's making the impact that it's supposed to make, but at the same time, it really hampers cash flow. So if you join me in that, I'm more than happy.
Settlements, 15, settlement of claim for property damage for Wesley Etheridge, $171.22.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Got a delay.
Okay, on the question? Hearing none, roll call?
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Abstention. Council didn't get a chance to discuss these with council.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
16, settlement of lost.
Did you get a chance to talk about this one?
No, sir.
I thought Brian spoke with him, but okay.
Okay, before we move forward, then is there a deadline, I don't know, is there a deadline with this? Or can this hold over to the next one? Cause I mean, we may have to call a special.
You may have to call special. I need.
This holds the, you know. 174, the 171, I'm not gonna worry myself about, but you talk about $150,000, I just wanna make sure.
You wanna hold this?
Yes.
Yes? Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Well, number 16 is,
I think we also might have to have an executive session on this and others that we know will come like it.
that concludes the agenda.
Alrighty.
Any other news, information? Okay, if not, any motion to adjourn?
Just the public hearings tonight, 6 o'clock, city council public hearing on the 2026 proposed annual.
No, so Madam Mayor, I'm not sure if you had a chance to hear about the issue with the building fee schedule, the building department fee schedule online. That is outdated. It also has some language that suggests that it's legally binding. So if future practices, if we could just make sure that we consult with the legal department or just not include that in fee schedules that are posted online, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay, I kind of heard you. So you're talking about updating and making sure, because I had spoken to them last week about updating the building department fee schedule, because I think it was from 2024. And then you said there might be language that suggests that it's legally binding. Is that what you said?
Yeah, sorry, traveling. But yes, this language on the bottom of the fee schedule that's posted online that says notwithstanding any other city ordinances, this fee schedule overrules. So obviously that ordinance always overrule any fee schedule that's posted, so we should include that language on the fee schedule. And I'm also getting a text message on from the council on that last 150, and they want to move it forward. So if possible, can we move that forward?
You wanna?
Oh, the council wants to move it forward, so they were able to get the information they needed? Okay,
Yes.
okay. So
I,
we'll reopen it,
now doing it.
sure.
Number 16, settlement of lawsuit in the matter of Philip Ballinger, $150,000.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, so on the question, because this is the second one that's come before us like this. And this goes back to a 2018 arrest, prosecution, investigation. That was a joint operation that was really being led by the Westchester County District Attorney's Office and utilizing Westchester County Police, on which they testified to some information that was later found not to be credible, and this was overturned. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it full-throated. Everybody loves to stand with Mount Vernon when they get to come down here and make big busts. But when these things have been overturned, Mount Vernon is standing by ourselves, paying back these lawsuits because the arrest happened in our city. We can arrest people, but we, as a police department, are not responsible for the prosecution. And so I think that there needs to be a conversation had, because I can't imagine this being the last one that comes. It is the second one that we've had to settle for a significant amount of money. And I think a conversation needs to be had as to how the county and the Westchester County District Attorney's Office, which also founds on the county, have some fiscal responsibility to address these lawsuits. Like I said, this is before my time, but I can look back at the press releases, and those offices were prominently standing up, talking about their joint task force and the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, the individuals who were used in this investigation, and whose testimony that they relied on were not Mount Vernon Police Department officers. but yet Mount Vernon is carrying the burden. So I'm never here to throw another area of government under the bus, but I'm sure not here to also, as our city, to have to pay for errors of other branches or other levels of government solely on the backs of Mount Vernon taxpayers. And so I just wanted to say that without any hesitation. Like I said, there's times I blow a trumpet and there's times I play a harp. And this is the time that I'm blowing a trumpet. And I think conversations need to be had as to how the city is going to address these going forward, because convictions of almost 20 people or more were overturned. And this cannot all fall on the backs of Mount Vernon taxpayers. It was not our single investigation by itself. So, roll call. Does anyone else have anything else to say on that matter? If not, we'll do a roll call.
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Okay, now that concludes the agenda.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Comptroller Morton,
Aye.
Council President Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 4:19 PM.
I would say